Hello, it's Frank Dierter, That One Web Guy, and I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to talk about the different apps that I use, I should say, on how to create these text memes with images, or images with text over them, or what's called as a meme. So I use pretty much 3 apps. I've checked several different ones, and these are the ones I like. The first one I'm going to talk about is Typorama. Then we're going to cover SparkPost, and then WordSwag. These are the 3 that I like, and I use them for whatever. Sometimes you have a darker image, and some of them have like a shadow that you can apply to it. Some of them have a background that you can put on the text, and some different text manipulation. So depending on the image that I want to use and the text that I'm going to use, it's the reason I pick one or the other. Sometimes it's just I feel like using one over the other. As you can see here in Typorama, we have across the top projects, presets, my photos, stock images, and colors. I like to start with the presets section. Maybe sometimes I'll start a project and I can go back and finish it. You can see some of them that I have there, or we can go with the presets option here. As you can see, there's the Instagram post, we have Instagram story, Facebook post, cover, whatever. You can see that there's YouTube video thumbnail, there's LinkedIn posts, so you can actually see there's Apple Watch wallpaper, and then different sizes that you can create as well. I pretty much just do Instagram post and use them on my Facebook post as well, but you could do them however you prefer. So as we'll go to the Instagram post, and it says double tap to edit text. Now we can put anything that we would want, and I usually go and find a quote that I like to use. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this text here, just so that we can play around with it. In the video that I recently did, I just stuck with one of the first 2 text options here, but you can see if we click on the different settings, it will change. Sometimes it changes. There we go. It'll change use the same font, but it'll change the layout. So if you just keep tapping it, you may get a different result. And then sometimes you will see sometimes you just have to keep tapping it to get the different results. So we can click on here, and you can see that there's several different options on the first one. On this one here, do a single line, double line. Sometimes you can get up to 3 lines depending on the amount of text. It says great for posters, as you can see here. And each one of them, it's really hard to tell. I usually don't do the text until I've got the image in place. I'm just kind of showing you what they are. Now the version that I'm using here is the free version. It's not a paid version that I'm using. It's just I've been using this one for a while. And you can see each of the different font types, and I'm not going to stop at each one of them, but you can see that some of them have some cool features that you might want to add. This one's kind of cool. It adds some graphics, some icons along with it. So you can see, just the different colors and things like that it does. So you can see, as we tap, you get different, even on that one same thing. Rainy day, cutesy, it'll double stack it there, fast runner. I like some of these, sometimes the ones with the banners or the different items like that. This one here I like a lot. Same way with this one. It adds different, sometimes it just doesn't work with an image. And you can see though that with the text sizes, you can't control the text, how thick the text is. So you just kind of have to live with the text that you have, and that comes a problem on this one occasionally, because sometimes you need a bolder text with the image that you have if you don't have a lot of space to work with. So you can see that some of these just wouldn't make much sense at all anyway. So once you have, you can play around with those. There's lots of different ones that you can add. Some really cool features there. That one's kind of cool as well. Depends on what you're looking for, as I said. As you can see, there's a lot of different options. That's the end of it there. But generally, before I mess with the text, I will add the image. So that if we wanted to look for an image, we could place whatever image that you want. So something like this would be easy to use just about any of the fonts. Maybe you have your own photo to choose from, so it'll go to your camera roll, and just choose from one of those. So maybe we wanted to put something like this, and then you can see, of course, if we go back to the text, we could change the color to be a little bit different. If you're going to put the text up here, it's not going to work. Depends on where you're going to place the text. You can pick your own colors if you want. or you can use any of the colors that are already preset there. And of course, once you have that in place, you can do some color, multiple color there, and it'll kind of put that in place as well. I generally use either white or black, but in some cases it looks cool to do some of the different colors. You can also change the opacity of that as well if you want some of the image to show through. So you can see how that one works. So I'm going to spend a whole lot of time with that. As you see, we have we can choose a color background, stock images, or choose photos, and I showed you both of those. We can also, this last option is called a watermark, so that if you had a watermark, which I do when I'm doing something that I'd like doing. I'm an amateur photographer. I can't say I'm a professional because I've never been paid for photography. I just do it for fun, and mostly nature pictures that I see, your pictures of my grandkids. But I created a signature image that I could put on if it was my photography, so I could put that down at the bottom. If you're trying to do it for your company or your company brand, obviously you can add a new watermark just by going there, and you can design one if you like, or if you have a logo that you want to pull up from your camera roll, you could do that as well. Or if you decide, well, I don't really want that on this one, so you just hit no watermark and it goes away. And then once you're done, I wanted to cover also this plus up here. You can add another layer of text. So like maybe if you wanted to put another, I do this occasionally, I will put a different text style underneath there. So I'll do that as another layer, and you could do that. And you could always switch back to the other one if you like. So we could get similar colors there if we wanted, or we could leave it white. But you can see how that becomes more effective as well. So that's by clicking the plus at the top. And then of course, once you're done, you click, we have, of course, I didn't show this part. On the text, we have different settings. So we have styles, which we've had. We have history, which shows some of the things that you've recently used. We have the colors, which we've covered. We have shadows, so we could actually add a shadow to it. Like if we wanted to, let's click on this one and make a shadow. We can add a little bit of a shadow to that to make it pop. You can see as I slide it to the right, the shadow appears there. And then we can change the blur of the shadow. Maybe we wanted to blur out a little bit. We can change the X and Y position. You can see if I move it up, it looks like the shadow goes to the top a little bit. It makes the text look like it stands out more. I usually leave it centered same way that way. If you slide it to the left, the shadow goes to the left. If you slide it to the right, the shadow goes to the left, or goes to the right. Say the same thing twice. We have gradients, so you can apply a gradient to it. You have an eraser, so you can erase part of a text or something, and you have a 3D rotate, so you can change the image on the, not the image, but the shadowing or the texture of the font or the text that's on there. So we have those options. Then again, once you have everything set the way you want it, you can then go to OK Share. You can save it. You can go to Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, mail it, Messenger, Twitter, Videorama, and then others. And others would show up things that you have set up there. I can send it to my mom or my daughters or something like that. A lot of times I just click save so I could use it. It goes to my camera roll and I can use it to whichever setting that I want. So that is the Typorama app. The next one that we have here is SparkPost. Now SparkPost is an app by Adobe that makes Photoshop and Illustrator and those type of things. You can also use it, you don't have to use it on your phone, but you can use it on via their website. You can go to spark.adobe.com and use it that way. And that works really well, if you're on your desktop or your laptop or something like that. Most of the time when I'm doing these, I'm doing it from my phone. So you can see how it will work. Now, of course, it's funny, I turned off notifications, but I'm still getting notifications. As you can see here that we have different settings that we can use. We have brand. So if you have brand colors set, it will keep it with the brand that you have. So if you have company colors, you can do that. We have featured, premium. These are premium layouts. We have animated layouts that we can use. Collage. So if you're putting a group of pictures together, as you can see here in the lower right hand side, we have seasonal, which they show Super Bowl. We have lifestyle, business, school, travel, food, craft, as you can see. So you can see the different things, like if you're having a workshop or whatever. I usually just use the feature. You could actually click one of these and it would go ahead and pull up exactly what you see there. So maybe you see something that's close to what you want. You can pull it up and modify that from there. So you can see this one. We could come in here, instead of saying Happy New Year, you could add your picture if you wanted. So you can see that it's there. So you can replace with your own photo or cameras, from your cameras, from your video, your photo library, Adobe stock files, or something like that, or even a pattern. So you could do any of those that you want. But what I like to do is, I want to go back. When I do these, I actually go back. That's going to my post templates. I just actually come here and I create my own. So I'll go to search free stock photos, and I may just thumb through here to see an image. When I'm doing these, sometimes I see an image that makes me think of a quote, or I find something that makes me want to add a quote to it. So I click the checkbox, click add one, and it's going to add it. You can see that we could have a pretty cool quote with that. So we could, I'm going to do it as an Instagram post, but you can see here in this one we have do custom sizes, original size, Instagram story, Instagram post, Facebook, Pinterest, you name it, 8.5 by 11, letter size if you wanted. So you could actually do things for your social profile if you want to do a Facebook cover, or a LinkedIn profile, Etsy cover, Eventbrite. You name it. There's quite different options that you could go here. Kindle cover. So if you're writing an ebook and wanted to sell it on Kindle, you could do a Kindle cover through there, a blog post. So it's pretty much unlimited there. So once we have the image we want, I can click done. It has me a place to double tap to add text. So on this one, I think, okay, nope. Yep, that's, come on. So I'm just going to leave that text there. We can modify it. We can drag it around. As I said, I'm just going to leave it here so we have the default text. We have a lot more different options here though. We can click the font and we can actually choose the font that we want from here. If you want to play around with the fonts yourself and find something that lays out, we can mess with the colors. There's different color schemes. What this one tries to do is it looks at the image and tries to pull up the color scheme from the image and tries to create something contrasting. So you can use one of them that they're suggesting, or come up with your own color scheme for that as well. They have shapes, so you can see that we have the square there. We can make it a diamond, we can make it an octagon, a circle, parallelogram, just braces if we wanted. And obviously the handles go away once we get there. We can, if I click on this again, you notice I have to click on the font to bring up that panel. We can do the effects, so we have different shadow options, outline options, and that sort. We can change the size of the font, so we can make it larger and bigger. And then, I don't really like that font, I'm just leaving it there. We can rotate it, scale it, we can nudge it one way or the other right from here, so you don't have to try to grab the handle. So this is one of the few that has this feature, which I really like. So I can say done. We can go to align. So if I wanted to be centered, left justified. So you can kind of play around with the picture. If you have a picture that may have had a more of a rounded edge to it, you could actually do do it right, left justified. Or if you do the justified, it's called justified, it tries to do some really cool settings with the fonts. Tries to stack them so they fit in a square or the rectangle that you have shaped there. We have spacing, so you can adjust the spacing between the letters, blow it way out, bring it in together. The lines you can actually bring in, and that's something I like about the Spark app here, that this is one of the few that I can modify that setting. So the shape there, I can make it have more padding between the shape and the text. So this one has a lot of really cool features, and I use this one a lot as well. Again, we can change the opacity or opacity, however you want to say that. So you can see that it changes the shape as well as the text when you change the opacity here. So you can see that it makes a big change, but it kind of creates a kind of a subtle look to it, and you can see that the shape that overcovers the mountain there it's allowing the image to show through. So you can kind of play with what works best for you there. And then we have some styles, which I like this here. It has a style wheel, and we can spin the style around, and it just gives you some different examples or some different ideas to work with. Now, of course, it changes the font, and so you just kind of work with the fonts that you like. So if I passed up one I like, I can go back and see, work backwards, or I can go forwards again, and I can just keep going around and around until I find something that I like, something that I want to work with, and then narrow that down, hone it down to something that I totally want. This one's kind of cool, so you could actually change the opacity a little bit more, so that you can see the guy there, but you still have a little bit of a pattern. I can move this down so I have the image all in, or I can just kind of play around with what you want. I kind of like how that looks. It kind of encompasses things a little bit. I can go back then and change the colors to be something more like I want. I can reverse the colors. That's what the little, if you see, it has the arrows pointing different directions. I can change that. If I click these sliders, I can do custom colors based on those and change those as well. So we can do that. I kind of liked the cancel. I kind of liked the white on the darker background. I don't like that font, so I could actually come in here then and play around with the font a little bit as well. And of course, when you change the font on this one, it changes the spacing around the edge as well. So you kind of play around to see what works best for you and what just really stands out. So you can see how that one's really cool. The different sets. You can do some animations. You can add your brand to this one as well. You can resize. Adding a brand is the brand on this one is the colors and things like that. But you can also add. You click here and add an icon. You can add a photo, video, text, a sticker. They have a set of stickers that you could use, or you can add a logo like we did in the past one, where you can actually just click on it. I've got a few different. Oops. I just made that all messed up. But I just drug it off the screen. But you could actually put your logo on there as well. I'm not going to spend much time on trying to fix that, but you can see how you would do that then. Then we can, of course, save it like we do. We can create a shareable template, so you could actually keep that as a template and just reuse that one. Save it to Facebook, Instagram. You can save the image if you choose, and go from there. So that is Spark Post. As you can see, that's a pretty cool feature to use, and I really like it. As I said, it's one of the top 2 of the 3 that I use. Then I'll go ahead and go to WordSwag. Now this is one that I've been using the longest. I still really like it a lot. It has a lot of different features. Sorry about the messages up there. But so again, we start from this face on enter on the WordSwag. We have the camera, library, and free photos, and then there's more, and the more just is an option if you want to do some other things. As you can see, there's video tutorials and things of that sort. But I usually just start with either the camera or the library, or free photos. So you could actually take a photo and do something with that. You can go through and pick something from their stock images, or you can search, say that we want a waterfall. If you spell it right. It was in my suggestions down there that I was spelling it wrong. There we go. Return, and it's going to start with Unsplash. It's one of the free services that has images, or you can use Pixabay, whichever you prefer. Either one of them will use the waterfall keyword that we have there, and then we can no, I didn't mean to pick that one, but that's what I got. Let's go back. Let's go ahead and use this one here, something that has a lot of color to it. And down here we can either say no crop. At the very bottom edge of the screen you can see square, and then the different sizes. So if you're at 9:16, maybe for your phone size, 3:4. We have the Facebook covers, we have the Twitter header covers, Pinterest, YouTube, and LinkedIn posts and stuff like that. Again, I usually do the square, just because that works across most of your platforms. We go to text here, so I can actually double tap that one. And one thing that I wanted to show you on this one is it actually has some custom quotes and things like that. So we can actually click on Be Mindful, and just keep typing that and get a quote that you like. So we can do things like that, get hyped. good morning, custom, classic, so true. So, and then of course you could add an author down here. So I'm just going to click done, and you can see then that we have a quote already ready to go. So again, we have, this one has 5 different presets for each font. There is a lot of different fonts across here. As you can see, it has actually one of the most set of font libraries to choose from that I have. Now this one is the paid version. As I said, I've used it for a long time. I'm going to go ahead and change the colors to black on this one, or kind of a gray. Go back to the style so we can actually see it a little bit. But you can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across there. Now I can do that with any of the styles, and kind of play around, see which one I like. I wish this one had where I can change the spacing between the lines or the words. It does not. So you can actually go through here. You can see that it changes the pattern. It's the same font, it just changes the pattern. You can't control the pattern. And then you have the dice. You can just kind of keep clicking that, and it'll just go through the different ones. Now, sometimes, again, this is kind of like some of the others. If I just click 1 a few times, it doesn't do anything. But if I hit the dice, you'll show that it keeps coming up to 1, even though it is changing the layout. And there's multiple ones than just 5 in that situation. So there are several different font scenarios to choose from. You can make the font bigger just by pinching and going that route. So you can see how that works. Again, we can change the colors, try to match something that's in there. I kind of like that one. But again, we have some different ones. Quotable. We have crisp apple. I tend to like the thicker ones, just because to me it stands out more. We have ones like this. Let me shrink it down. So that would be kind of cool. Those are just some of the different types of ones that you can use. That one's kind of cool as well. Wet paint, and we're doing waterfall. So you can see how that works. I kind of like this one on occasion. The typeface looks kind of cool. I don't always like how it plays out though, so I kind of have to play around to get it to with what I want. Again, though, the one I really liked was up here at the beginning somewhere. One of these here, I think it was. It looked kind of good, so we can go with that one. And then once we're done, we can, let me back up a moment. We have our colors, we have the image, so you can actually change the brightness of the image. We can change the blur of the image. So maybe you wanted to make the image brighter, lighter. There's presets as well. There's the normal. If we want to take it back, there's darker. We can go to Broadway. You can go to duotone if you want to change the colors, soft gray, those type of things. I'm just going to keep it normal. The colors here are for the font. You also have textures, and you can invert the font, which doesn't work on that. So, and if you added the texture, sometimes that doesn't always work well. You have to kind of play around, see which one works best, but it kind of gives some gradient to to the font itself. To me, I think it makes it harder to read. I'm trying to keep it simple. We can add text as well. If you wanted to add more text, see that it created another layer there. You can delete that. And then you could also, I was thinking that you could, I'm going to click save. Yep. So that was saved. And then you can add your logo after you save it. So, which is kind of a weird thing. And you can animate the text if you want as well. So if you wanted to add your logo, you click there and add your logo, obviously. And then you can save any of these. I think this one, once I did that, it automatically saved to my camera roll. So if I wanted to go right into Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, whatever, I could do that now. Or I could start over and just click new. So those are the 3 that I really liked. Again, we had WordSwag, we had SparkPost, and then Typorama. Those are the 3 that I really like. I'd like to hear which ones you use if you're using something different. I appreciate you watching along today, and be back with another video again soon. Thank you.